wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of ticky-tack. Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes all the same. There's a green one and a pink one and a blue one and a yellow one. They're all made out of ticky-tacky. They all look just the same. And the people in the houses all went to the university where they were put in boxes. They came out all the same. And there's doctors and there's lawyers and business executives, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky. They all look just the same. And they all play on the golf course and drink their martinis dry. They all have pretty children. The children go to school, and the children go to summer camp, and then to the university where they are put in boxes. They come out all the same. And the boys go into business and marry and raise a family in boxes made of ticky-tacky. They all look just the same. There's a green one and a pink one and a blue one and a yellow one. They're all made out of ticky-tacky. They all look just the same.
Time to roll.
TGIF, everybody.
Thank God it's Friday.
Oh, yeah, thank God it's Friday. It's been a bit of a wonky Friday, as you might have noticed with a desperately late start. And the fact that I have yet to push the button, even though I'm sitting here looking at the screen. There we go. Now we are live on Rockfin as well. But we've got a really exciting show. Not like a special show per se. More family, just sort of hanging out once again. We've got a returning guest, a returning family member. So we just spent some time this evening catching up, chilling, chit-chatting, and getting in the right headspace. So before we welcome our guest, we're going to jump right in and say hello to the rest of the crew, starting off, of course, with the ladies first. Mrs. Camly Nodell. You might recognize her channel, Aisling717, here on the YouTubes. Cammy, how are you doing?
Oh, I am here. Good to be here. I'm sitting here watching them cut down the magnolia tree outside of my office. They're almost done with the chainsaw. I love our guest tonight, and I'll be on and off on the microphone a lot because of the chainsaw action in the background, but great to be here.
And it's always a pleasure to have you. And you just pretend like those chainsaws aren't even there. Let's find somebody else trying to ignore the chainsaws. Mr. Zachary Zabala, he's got a channel here on YouTube. Good Times for All, spelled exactly as you would think. Give it a shot. Zach, how are you doing?
Hey there, Josh. Hey, everybody. Yeah, love the guest we're having tonight. While he's not here, I'll say it. One of my heroes, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
If I had, I don't know, just he's got means to help people, and he does. And not everybody that has means to help people reach out and just help, all kinds of people. Just no question. Just, yeah. So I can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be a good show.
I think it is going to be a good show. Nice, relaxing, no pressure kind of show, I think is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Someone else who's a big fan of those no pressure, relaxed kind of shows, Mr. Walter Johnson. You might know him from his channel, Flat Earth Head. They're on the YouTubes. Walter, how you doing?
Doing good, except I'm having to eat my mic again today, like I did the other day on America Unplugged. Don't know what's been going on with audio, but I'm about to buy some new stuff and get this all changed up. I hear a lot of good stuff about the Blue Yeti right now. Anyway, yeah, we had a good show this morning. I'm super looking forward to this show, and I just as soon hoop, my God, heap the praise upon our guest. To say he's a helper, a literal angel here on the plane, yeah, I don't want to swell his head up too big going in, but yeah, this guy has beyond helped me personally, the family that I know at large, complete strangers that he has no connection to, but I knew needed help, and reached out, and he was right there. It's beyond amazing. Like, to say I want to be Daryl when I grow up is an understatement. Yeah, we all hope to ascend to that level. I'll stop gushing and just get on with getting him in here. So, yeah, thank you guys for waiting, and thank you for the patience through a lot of this being my audio issues. Don't know. We'll figure it out, though.
And before we jump right in there, I'm going to say hello to Boston Ray, Mudflood Adventures, there in the chat, because he's another one that really helped me out, especially in regards to tonight's guest, as it turns out, because, well, I have pods, but I still can't seem to find the battery. I'm not entirely sure I still have it. It's possible. It's possible. I've got a bunch of crap laying around, so it's possible I would have saved it. But I don't know. So luckily, Boston Ray, he managed to ship me a few extra batteries, so now I can make use of the pods. And the timing couldn't have been better. It was like 2 days from the time I went and picked up one package to the time I got the other in the mail. It was all just beautifully done. So again, many thanks, Ray. It's I don't know if you heard this morning, but that cart is no joke, for real. That sour D is no joke. I've not ever been one that's been really fond of those carts like that. I always try them because I'd like to be able to. And I hear people like just getting all stoned off these carts, and I just never did until I got that sour diesel. Now I can literally hit that little cart 2 or 3 times and be good. And it's an amazing feeling. I really appreciate it. So on that note, let's jump right in and say hello to tonight's family member, our returning family member. Everybody knows him, Flat Earth Farms, Daryl Davis. Thanks again for coming to hang out. It's always a pleasure. Sorry it's been so long, and thank you, really, from the deep down bottom of my heart, for all that you do. You are probably single-handedly most responsible for having raised my slave score enough that I could buy a new car, the new car that I did, only because I was able to, get ahead on some of my bills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all you. The Ginger is all you. I much appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh. Good to see you, bro.
You too. It's good to
everybody.
hear you.
It's always a pleasure.
When I first started listening to you, Josh, your audio was set apart, seeming from everybody else's. I don't want to get it on anybody, but I was like, wow, this guy's got a good mic. So yeah, definitely appreciate your style.
And that was probably quite a long time ago when I did not have the greatest of mics. And really, we were on it. Walt was talking about it, the Blue Yeti. This is the blue. This is the baby bottle, I think, or the blue bottle or something like that. It's one of the versions of blue the version of the bikes that Blue makes. I've got their 2nd generation ball microphone over here. Blue is a really good microphone company. And I'll repeat myself once again that I heard Jonathan from Jersey testing out his audio and stuff on the new station platform last night. And I was calling in on the Google voice line, his call-in line, and that didn't sound so hot. But the clarity on his voice was amazing. It's like, I shouldn't be surprised, but even listening. I got him coming in here talking, then I'm trying to listen to see what it sounds like coming through on the website, and just blown away how clear that website audio is coming through. So if you don't have a blue microphone, I highly suggest you get it, whether it's the XLR plug or it's the USB plug. Run out and grab one today. We're not sponsored, though. By God, I'd like to be, because they've got some really good mics. If you're familiar with
You're my boy, Blue.
Patricia Steer, she uses this similar mic, not the same one. She's got the real expensive one, but
Can you hear me now?
I
We
can.
do hear you now.
Do I sound any different?
Yes, you do.
You might sound a bit different. Yep.
Is it sultry and smooth?
It's very sultry and smooth to the
It
point.
is.
I had
I'm
to-
jealous. You have the Yeti.
I was trying to figure out who the hell was coming on here.
Mhm.
Where's that
Yeah.
strange voice coming from?
Yeah, I guess I could start using this thing a little bit more. I usually only use it for videos. It's just one more headache I don't have to worry about. But yeah,
It's
you
a
don't
step
see it.
above.
All right,
It's
cool.
really good.
I will break out the Yeti. Thank you, Daryl. You've made me take another step.
Shout out to Boston Ray. Congratulations, Daddy-O.
Absolutely. I'm hearing he needs to move to Utah. Apparently they're in chat. But yeah, I want to shout Ray out as well. He definitely helped me out, Daryl. I'm supposed to let you know that. So yeah, he's a good guy. Love me some Ray.
So how's the farm been doing, Daryl?
Pretty good. Slow start, very slow start. Super awesome weather though. It's just getting hot. We've only had like one day in the 100. I don't even think it's hit 100 yet.
Hi.
So it's like, it's really favorable. You can get a lot done still. The river is sweet. It's pretty cold. It'll warm up
You
a
guys
little
got a
bit.
lot of rain this spring, didn't you? A lot of rain.
Yeah, it's like a whole nother year. It's like the way it used to be like 15 years ago, everybody's saying. The way that this year is. There's no spraying. It's completely blue skies right now. Just loving it.
That's
California
awesome.
rocks, everybody. We're getting very lucky right now, and I'm loving it. I'm looking at the sky all the time, and there's only been a couple days. One day I was like, oh my God, where's the vinegar? And I scoured the house, and I'm out of vinegar. But I haven't needed to boil any vinegar to try that out yet. Just haven't. So thanks for everybody
awesome.
who's boiling vinegar over there, and it's helping over here. There you go.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Let everybody know exactly what
we
the
got a
boiling
bunch of
vinegar
different
does.
strains this season,
Daryl,
just like every year.
Remind everybody the exact point of boiling the vinegar.
You got me.
Well, I think it's really just a matter of
I'm not
breaking
well
up the
studied.
clouds. It's just a matter of
Chemtrails.
Chemtrails breaking that shit up.
I would think that
Dissipate.
boiling it would release it, turn it into a gas, and make it, give it some effect over it just sitting there. If you're asking just boiling, I don't know how the whole mechanism works, but there are people certainly saying good things about it.
And it really is just
Yeah,
sort of
I'll buy
vaporizing.
some vinegar and boil it. Heck yeah. Just give me some chem weather. I'll do it.
We got Thunder Chicken in chat, maybe asking about electrocute antennas this year. I'm guessing maybe like electroculture. I'm guessing probably some electroculture antennas.
Copper wire going up?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet. I'm slacking. Or magnets. Either, Cammy.
Or magnets either.
Super slack.
I was just looking through this computer earlier and found a bunch of, the file folder of all the photos that Dom had sent us and all the crazy stuff that he had been doing. That was some really interesting stuff. The vortexing of all the water he was watering with and some of the electroculture stuff that he'd been going on. I'm glad to see it finally picking up and taking off, though. Because we had Dom on like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up with Ian. Ian had some stuff going. I guess I'm slacking on checking back in with his progress.
I know there's lots of people
Where is he?
giving it a shot. I think Lucas LC King, I think he's trying some electroculture. I think Angela Baby Carson, she's got some stuff going on in her garden. I think who else? I think there was somebody else. Campbell, I think autodidactic. I think he had some stuff going on. Maybe I forget. I know there's a bunch of people just trying to give it a shot. Who else? Somebody. Conspiracy Music Guru Alex. I know he was doing some electroculture stuff. All sorts of people. And that's just.
I'm on a Facebook group. I haven't seen much in their group actually. I should get back in there. But Facebook's got some groups on electroculture.
I see. Yeah, and this is old. The idea of using electricity to make the plants grow bigger is it's a real old idea. There's patents from like 1920s that talk about how to do this the most efficient way. Can you guys hear that chainsaw in the background?
Negative Ghost Rider. That pattern is empty.
Okie dokie, good. But yeah, they would not just put a positive charge. They were actually getting into using different frequencies, and they'd put a mesh underneath their garden, a wire mesh, and then hang a wire mesh above it. And they would use alternating frequencies, kind of like the Rife machine does. And one of the frequencies was good for plants and not so good for bugs. And the other one was actually more of a pesticide type of a frequency that didn't hurt the plants. So they were using two different things because they found if you did something that really made the plants grow real big, a lot of the times it would make your bugs also kind of get bigger or stronger, or yeah, it was weird. So they really tuned it in to where, yeah, that messing with the electric field, they did it so it would hurt the bugs and help the plants. So it's kind of like a pesticide and all in one. It was amazing. But yeah, patents on this stuff. It should be well known. This should be everywhere being used. It's good to see people actually, starting to just try stuff. That's always the first step. Just try it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the new strands you got?
Us,
Oh, go ahead, Walter. Sorry.
Well, I was saying, they show us stuff in movies all the time, fake news, real stuff in the entertainment. And I know it's silly, but don't I remember in Big Top Pee-wee that he was using electricity in his little secret laboratory, him and the pig that could talk, and they were making bigger things grow because they were using electric. I may be remembering it wrong. I'm going to go look it up. But yeah, they constantly, that theme of growing big things with electricity has been in all kind of movies.
I was thinking about electricity the other day.
Okay, I've got them really doing the chainsaw bad right in the background, but I dropped something in the chat that I think if you click into it, you guys can run from. Let me hop back on mute.
What if we didn't have any lightning? What if lightning wasn't a thing here in this realm? Would down still be down?
Yeah.
Definitely.
The differential would still be maintained?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the lightning is actual breakdown of that.
Yeah, the lightning would be a discharge. It would, like, if it didn't discharge on the left, but the down would very much be down. Sorry. I don't think I can disguise this the way that Zach Shetty can.
Tommy, tell the truth, almost got struck by lightning today. Well, congratulations. Go out and buy a lotto ticket.
Yeah, we've had a lot of thunderstorms this season, like a lot. What month is it? July right now? So most of May and the beginning of June was really active in the air around here. I loved it. It was so cool. It was like a lot, not just like a day here, a day there. It was like steady where there was lightning at night and you could just feel it. It but it was just often. We never get that. And I wonder, what my plants were doing. Like, what would happen if I had some wires up there? And would that be more active? I got struck too. I was out in it, and I thought, man, maybe I should get back to the house for a second. And then crack, like really close to me. I didn't see anything, but I just got down on the ground. Was instinctive. I stayed there for a little bit, and I thought, dude, I am the tallest thing around right here. And I just got on the ground. I just thought that was what I should do. I've never done that before, but that was about a month ago. That was killer, and it was just amazingly steady. Like I've
Did
been
you have
through a
the
few storms.
hair on your arm stand up or anything?
A little bit when I was out in that. Yeah.
Yeah, they
It's
say that's
cool.
one of the telltale signs. If you look down and all the hairs on your arm are standing up like you're holding onto a Van de Graaff generator, then you need to get down. They say get on your tippy toes and turn yourself into like a ball, make an arc with your body as much as possible. And everything, all your hands, you don't want to stick your finger out. That's like asking for it. Anything pointed is going to attract more potential to it. So you try to make yourself spherical somewhat, get down into a curled position. That's what they say, at least. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
growing
know.
up, there was
Lightning.
this theme in my family of like lightning hitting trees, like right out the street, the window from us, or right next to us in the yard, or the fence post over there, or on the road, and hitting the light pole right here. I mean, it almost felt like it was following us at certain times. One point, it came through a window and hit a lamp next to me, my sister and brother. And my grandma's excuse for that was because we had just got out of the bathtub and our hair was wet. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And like, I don't know, that whole idea of this area maybe being overly electrical, or was it my family? I don't know. We're also the people who the streetlights go out, as we're going down the road at night.
Yeah, that used to happen to me, this one street light, all the time. I'd be going home it was like probably 30 miles from the closest like city where they had, the Walmart and the big shopping centers and Menards and all that kind of stuff. And I was about 30 miles out into the country. And right when I got out into the country, the very first stoplight, there was only like one. Once you got out of that town, there's one stoplight, and it's at the intersection of two highways. And I'd get stopped there all the time. And as I'm sitting there, I would look up at that street light, and 7 out of 10 times, this is like almost every night, that light would just go bloop and go out. And then I'd get a ways down the road and I see it pop back on. But yeah, it happened to me all the time. That one same street light, always. I don't know. I don't know if it was always doing it or what. But yeah, it was like never out when I pulled up to it. It was always on. And it would always go out while I was sitting there. We were connected some sort of way. So what new strands you got going this year? Now,
Okay.
do you name them like before? How do you do it? Because I know we were kind of talking about that before the show. Some people pick the name first, especially if there's two strands they mixed or something. They'll pick one from each one. And then, like you said, that one train track was supposedly or train wreck was grown by where there was a
Yeah.
train wreck on the tracks. Yeah. So how do you do it as an actual grower who comes up with new strands and stuff like that? What's your method?
I'm with waiting and finding out what it's all about, like you were mentioning. That could be the official name. But this season I did 0 breeding, absolutely none. And I'm just trying to make a comeback, honestly. The last couple of years are pretty low yield. The fires and stuff a couple of years ago, and then last year didn't really have a whole lot of help. But same with this season. It's rigorous. And plus we didn't have our county permit last year because the hater group, huge hater group out here. They're official TAA, and they just are anti-cannabis. They sued the county. We had to give up our licenses for a short time period. And just recently, we are 100% back in.
Nice.
So
Nice, brother.
you can find that online.
So much love and prayer for that over this last period for you. You have no idea. I knew that was weighing heavily on you and the family. So I'm so glad it went through.
Yeah, we had a state license the whole time, and they didn't care if we operated. They wanted us to. We're supposed to, you know.
Yeah.
The county
That's revenue for them, right?
Yeah. So we had to do, each farm had to do their own CEQA. What does it even stand for? California, blah, blah, blah. It was a whole environmental study, the whole big thing. It cost like 30, 40 grand. Some farms cost more than that. I think I got off pretty easy, actually. And there was nothing that they could do about our report that we turned in. It goes through all these rigorous, different companies look at it and stuff. And so that's all done. Got my CEQA certified. I got my permit. That's a huge milestone. And then next month I'll have my state annual, and that's about it. Can't touch me after that. Except they're going to go after zoning here in this county, because these haters, they're not going to quit. We know it. They've already started. They want to shut down any farms that are in rural residential zoning, but almost all of them are. That's just the way our county is. Our county is super behind. There's a lot of unclassified parcels, and so it's just another fight down the road. But we're old school. We're gonna keep doing it.
Have you ever
Can't get
looked
rid of us.
into an allodial title? It's one of those titles where you
Yeah.
actually own the
John
land.
was telling me. I did. John was telling me, Santel, about. I looked it up, and I was wondering if I did that, whether my land would therefore be actually permittable through the state for what I'm doing. Like, it's almost, I was wondering. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd have
I'm
to get
not
a lawyer on
sure.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know before you even
Yeah.
apply, I would get a lawyer, because to apply, it's a few grand. And a lot of people get turned down just for simply not knowing what they're talking about. So you really want somebody who's either done it or has really done the research on how to get this done. I know there's people out there online who claim, if you just follow these, 10 easy steps, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I don't know if I trust any of that. I'd get, somebody you could trust. But yeah, I hear
Yeah.
only like 40% of them get approved. This was something they did way back in the day that's still on the books. Like, people would buy land to harvest all the lumber, or mining companies would have to get these so they could mine the earth. They would actually own the land then. But yeah, people do it like as like homesteads, and they give you a little plaque, a little bronze plaque that says, this land is now, henceforth, and forever owned by the Davis family, starting with Daryl Davis and until whenever. Yeah. But yeah, people actually own the land, and you don't pay taxes on it or none of that stuff. It's wild. But yeah, something worth looking into.
Yep.
I heard something about them passing a new law out there. If you get behind on your taxes one day, they can shut down your farms or something like that. Is that happening
Yeah, a
up in
bunch of
your
people sent
county?
me that article. That's no, that's down south, Southern California.
Okay.
Southern California sucks. But anyway, no, I'm just joking. But they have that in Santa Barbara County, I think. I read that article. It is crazy that they already did an initial vote on it, and all 5 supervisors voted yes to review it. They didn't just stop it. They're like, oh yeah, let's really think about this. So like, if you're one day late, what is it? They pay every 90 days.
Something
So
like that,
if you
yeah.
don't have all the money at the end of that 190-day period, or you're late at all, you're done out of business. Because if you, I mean, the people down there are huge. They can't hang out like we had to last year and just, like the county just said, you guys have to just not farm for a year. Oh, yeah, who could just not work for a year?
Yeah.
And some people did. I guess a few people got jobs. I know a lot of farmers who went and got 95 jobs last year. A lot. And some of them, I don't know. A lot of them I don't know. But so yeah,
So
that's
how much
super
of
unfair. I
that?
don't see it happening.
Trying to think how to frame this question. Over the years, I've kept up with some of the, progress because my family had moved out to Oregon. My mom needed access to medicine, and it was at that point only medical. It hadn't happened to, it hadn't gone into recreational yet, and it was medical only with a provider, like a grower. You had to have designated grower, and they only could give you a certain amount per year, and it was this whole process. And it was difficult. It was hard to get in. You had to have the right doctor and all this kind of stuff. And me not living there made it extra difficult. My brother and my sister weren't real huge fans of the idea, unfortunately. So it was, stepping stones. Anyway, but learning what I had to learn for that. And there have been, how many documentaries have come out over the years, movies, whatever. I know there's like this whole legacy of growers who've been doing it there for years, like time, Humboldt County. I mean, think about the legendary things that have come out of there. And so when this all went legal, some people hopped into the legal system, some people didn't. And so because of that, some of those legacy, not in the system growers tend to give people who are trying to be in the system, in the legal system, a lot of trouble. Like literally will burn stuff down, will, hijack their crap, mess up their grow sites, etc. This is all in documentaries. I don't know any of this personally. It's just shit I've seen, And so you would think that for the years of that legacy to be able to function the way it did, there had to be people in the local governments that were either part of it, getting money from it, getting supplied from, you know what I'm saying? It couldn't have been just, I mean, think of the flyover, think of the area. I mean, yeah, it can be hidden, but there has to be a helping hand here and there in the system. So how much of this you think is that? Maybe some of that legacy blowback coming through the system? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud because I just watched something a few days ago. I don't know what it was, something recently. But anyway, you would definitely know more about this than I would.
Well, like, what's the full question? Like, how does
Well, I mean,
the old
do you
time
think there are
tomorrow?
people that are in the actual government there? That's why they're giving you guys such a hard time, that are trying to do this the right way. Maybe that are backing the
That.
legacy growers.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? They're wanting those guys to succeed more than the legal guys or something. I'm just looking for a conspiracy, man. Come on, give me a tinfoil hat, damn it.
Oh no. So, the people who are anti-herb are they're known. It's a public group, so like we know who the members are, and I know some people who
So they're
made it
just
into
like
a
dare
meeting.
super guys or something. Is that basically their whole
They're
deal?
okay.
Is
So
the
it's the
demon weed?
ex-judge. Yeah, one is the ex-judge, and one is another guy who used to own a hardware store here. There's a bunch of them, but these are two. I'll just talk about these two guys. One's a judge who put a lot of cannabis growers in jail over his time period, and who I've talked to personally. And he had cancer. I mentioned RSO, and he said he used it at the same time trying to take us all out. So he's two-faced. The other guy made his money in a way like selling shovels to gold miners. Like he sold all the equipment to the illegal grows in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and now he's anti-weed. He took out loans for those guys. He helped them buy properties. He is all the way up in there, but he's not a smoker. And this is the old guard. These are the people who controlled the county for the 70s, 80s, 90s, the old families. So it's like what we're all up against. Like when we think about like who's running the show. This is who's running the show locally, and they suck like the people running the show. State, they're all related, all the way down to here. Like I wonder. I haven't done any genealogy or anything like that on the people that are the old guard here in this county, but it's clear as day. Like they are all so connected. It's retarded.
I bet if you look at some of the last names, you could tie them back to some major families. Like in Indiana, the farmers, the real big farmers, like the biggest one in the county I lived in, 800 acres. His last name was Koch, Koch. Now he told everybody his last name was Cook, but I looked at it, I was like, well, that's not how you spell Cook. You can tell me it's Cook all you want, but that's Koch. That's the Koch family, like the richest person.
The Koch brothers.
Yeah, well, they have a really wealthy family. It's not just those two. Those two are the well-known bajillionaires. But I think her name is Susan Koch. I know back 5-6 years ago, she was the richest lady in Indiana, pharmaceuticals. She not so much making the drugs, but the little plastic things that all the different hospitals use for syringes or vials or whatever. Like she made all that stuff. And yeah, Koch, Koch. She didn't make that, Josh.
Koch Industries, yeah, Koch Industries, their tagline is creates life's basic necessities while innovating ways to make them better than ever. It is a multinational conglomerate corporation, and in America is privately held by the Koch family based in Wichita, Kansas, and is the second largest privately held company in the United States after Cargill. Subsidiaries are things like Georgia Pacific, Molex, and Vista, more, just to give you, but no, it's not a small, they're big players.
Who was that first family?
Koch. This is the Koch Industries.
They were second biggest company, privately owned
Cargill.
company.
Cargill, Cargil.
I've seen that somewhere,
Uh-huh.
but I don't really even. It's not one of
I'm
those
sorry, two
families
L's,
you
yeah.
hear about, you know.
No,
as
nor do you hear
being-
about the yeah. Cargill is global food, agriculture, and bio industries. Yep. Uh-huh. Exactly. The fertilizer and that, yeah.
Wow.
Food supply.
Subsidies are Cargill Meat Solutions. Oh, are these going to be the people that are making fake meat? I don't know.
I heard something crazy today about checking labels. I don't know if it was Alex Michael. I'm not sure. You know how he likes to put out the little posts? Or someone else. It might have been someone else. Don't quote me on this. But it said you need to check for these words in your ingredients. And then it put the bug that it was right underneath it. So it was like 6 or 7 different ingredients. And then it told you what kind of bug it was that is. That they're putting in food all over the place now. So check your ingredients. I always look for things like aspartame and, you know.
So they're adding insects as extra protein. Is that what they're doing? That's really disgusting.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We're not supposed to be eating bugs in my.
I just saw this as a post that someone put up, but I wouldn't doubt it. Let me see if I can find it again.
While you're looking, I was going to what I wanted to share so badly because it was such a good story. So while you're looking with that was just all of the news stories. I don't know if anybody else has caught it, but like it was an accident. The scientists who have turned humid air into renewable energy. How scientists turn humid air into renewable energy. They're pulling the fairy circles and electricity from air, inclusive and innovative science yesterday. All of a sudden, they're saying, oh, we can turn humid air into electricity. We've known that. Scientists figure out how to make electricity from thin air. Congratulations. This isn't new. We were talking about it on Globebusters years ago, but apparently the scientists just figured it out. It's Newsweek.
Congratulations, scientists.
Congratulations, scientists. That's why you guys are paid the big bucks. It was an accident.
What were they trying to do?
Hey, so going back to that Koch family. I was when we were just starting, I would say in late 96, 97. I was in HSU, Humboldt State University, and one of my buddies was named Tyler Koch, and he was part of the Sweat Lodge crew. Did a lot of ceremonies together, peyote meetings, he said Sundance and stuff for a couple of years, and he kind of he started telling us that he's related to the Koch family, and that his dad is the brother of the two Koch brothers. So those are like his uncles. And we're like, there's no way. And he ended up dying. He moved to Hawaii, kind of got spun out on the ice scene, came back, and he ended up, I don't know what happened to him. He passed away. He's not with us anymore, but he was indeed an heir to the Koch brothers, as it turns out. 100%. It's wild.
That is
Small world.
Doesn't like cousins and unknown heirs and that are like that. Those are the people I would most expect to disappear. If he's
Yeah,
a young,
they didn't like it.
they didn't like
He
him,
wanted
right?
to get his money, and he
Uh-huh.
was gonna buy a cruise ship, and we're all gonna just get on his cruise ship and just sail around and just do whatever. That's what he wanted to do for our whole family out here.
He obviously wasn't brought up in like wasn't one of the chosen to be there. So yeah, that it's sad and it doesn't. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound very old. So again, if you're talking about hanging out and partying with him and that, doesn't sound like he died of old age comfortably. No, no, yeah.
He was young. I remember he was on Kauai when I was on there, and we were in Colorado Valley at the same time. He climbed up this rock wall. It was so crazy. But yeah, got to go back to Kauai, Cami. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I miss it so bad. It's one of my all-time favorite places. Missing it. We used to spend 2 weeks out there a year, and I haven't been for years now. So I have withdrawal symptoms from Kauai because it is a magical, beautiful place. It really, really is. What part do you stay on when you're there?
I go in the North Shore. Our crew
Mm-hmm.
up Powerhouse Road, right across from Graham Nash's place, is where I got to live for a while. But then just down the street is where what do they call it? Rainbow Holly is where I get to stay. One of my best friends. That fortunately, the matriarch there, she went by the name of Moo. She just passed away, and that parcel, I'm not sure what's going to happen to it. I'm not sure if they're going to sell it or move on or what. They were part of the Chandler family, who was kind of Hawaiian royalty. They went to a lot of the ceremonies on where they did it. They had to fly. Can't remember which island it was. Maybe it was Oahu, but yeah, it was fun. I lived there for like 6 months. Learned a lot about the plants and stuff and just their culture. Not too intimately, but enough to like, man, it's so cool. Dig it.
Well, we had a timeshare at Poipu, which is not the North Shore, but we usually when we'd go out there and fly out there, and that after the week we would do an Airbnb for another week or 10 days. And plus, we had a friend that had a condo in Princeville, so that worked really good. We stayed there a lot of years and did that. I liked being, I don't know, in the Kalihiwai area is some of my favorite part-time towards the North Shore a little bit in Hanalei. I don't know, it's just such a special place. You just feel good there. I get 10 years younger when I go there. I swear I do. I take pictures and they're like, "Oh, is that an old picture?" And I was like, "No, I just look younger there." You just feel young and feel good there.
Yeah, the mana. Love it.
And yeah, and it's like that too when you go there. You need to be there at least a week, which is fine. You stay on a timeshare for like a week to do this because it takes you a good week to acclimate to the feel of the islands, and then it's good to go into the private residential after you've been there and aren't going in so touristy and that.
Yeah, car camping is excellent too if you know what you're doing. That's
Mhm.
super cool. I haven't
Yeah.
spent much time on Maui. I went one time, and that's no Big Eye, no other islands.
Too much ocean. Too much ocean.
It's just some salt water, man. It's got a purpose.
Oh yeah, it's fine as long as I'm not in it. I'm cool. It's not the water that scares me so much. I mean, the water, yeah. If a whole bunch comes rushing at you at once, that could suck. But it's more or less the things that are swimming around in there. I mean, I didn't even like being in the middle of Lake Michigan, and I've been there swimming 100 times when I was young. And once I hit like 17, 18, it was weird. I went like way out there, like 13 miles out, something like that, 11 miles out, and jumped in. And my whole body screamed, "Get out of here. You're a worm. You're like a worm on a hook right now. Get out of the water." And yeah, I haven't been back in Lake Michigan since then. It was just this weird, like primal feeling that you have. It's like, fight or flight.
What's in that water? What is there, sharks in there?
No, I mean, they've had bull sharks at one time, supposedly. I know there's huge, enormous catfish up north. They say their eyes are like the size of a volleyball. Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. Those deep water welders, underwater welders that go welding on those levees and stuff like that, the locks that raise and lower the water, St. Lawrence River. When it comes into Lake Michigan, I guess it's a real deep one. And they say there's scary stuff down there. Divers refuse to go back down. They'll come up like way early, job not even done, and be like, "Fuck that! I ain't ever going down there again." You can get someone else to go down there. So I don't know. And who knows? It's a huge lake, just enormous. Like you couldn't know everything. I'm sure shit could happen out in the middle of that lake every single day, and nobody would have a clue. It's that big.
There's
Yeah, it's like a small little ocean almost.
there's a place here in Missouri called Elephant Rocks. It's a little conservation area, but there's a swimming hole there, and there's just a little kind of creek that meanders, and it gets to this little pool, this little swimming area, and then the creek just sort of goes on through. But it's these great big boulders and rocks that have all been worn smooth and round, and they just look elephants. I don't know. They call it Elephant Rock, but this little swimming hole, they say, is 100 feet deep in this one little spot. Just out of the clear blue, the creek that hits this pool, and the pool goes down 100 feet. And I remember being a little kid swimming in that, thinking, almost having that panic attack, just thinking about it being 100 feet deep. Like it could have been 10 feet deep. But psychologically, I was too scared to like go too far under, so I would have never touched. So even if it was 10 feet deep, I wouldn't know. I'd still think it was 100. But just the fact that I was imagining that 100 feet of water sort of between me and the bottom, and what in the fuck could be in there, and all the shit at the bottom, and who knows what's hiding in there that just doesn't come up for light or need to come up. And it was just, that was enough to sort of get me out post haste. But it's all psychological, is my point. Ain't nothing in that ocean going to get you, Zach.
Probably. Bullshit.
Probably.
There's a lot of stuff in that ocean that could get me.
But nothing that's.
I mean, it's a big place. Don't get me wrong.
Well, sure. There's all sorts of things that could get you. Does that mean that your life on land is now safe because there's fewer things that can get you?
No, I have,
it's all psychological.
Legs. No, they definitely have an advantage in that water. I mean, yeah, bear, yeah, you're fucked, But there's a lot of animals that you could stand up to and be like, "Hey, no, I'm going to stay here." Out there, a little jellyfish will kill you. I guess a little scorpion will kill you too on land. I don't know. No.
I know you're going to say it's going to get me any closer to the ocean.
I'm just trying to make a complete agoraphobe out of you.
Uh,
Just keep you inside forever.
no, out there on the land though, it's different. You know,
What about like copperheads and things like that, Zach? I mean, we have copperheads and different rattlers and different things
yeah,
here.
and I've seen copperheads. I took some pretty pictures of one, not too far from Josh's house, maybe 50 miles south of him.
We've got them.
But yeah, I saw it and I was like, okay, I'm not going to go over there. In the water, man, it's different. Yeah, I used to swim a lot. I used to love swimming with the fish in the ponds. What was the name of that lake? Oh, see it. I don't know. It's gone. Little sand pit that they turned into. It was like a quarry that hit water and filled up, and they threw a bunch of sand down, and it was the local lake there in Hobart, out on Liverpool Road, the old country road, right next to the farm that had cows. The only one left. It's probably gone now. That whole thing's probably subdivision now. Yeah, what's it like up there in California, Daryl? Is there do they keep it pretty rural out there and stop from subdivisions and shit like that going up?
Kind of like I'm right in the mountains. It's kind of normal when you get out of this county, Trinity, you get into Shasta County. It's kind of like everywhere else. But Trinity County, where I'm at, it's just thick with mountains. There's like the towns are old, so it's kind of historic. Not very many of them at all. There's only like 14,000 voting people in Trinity County.
Wow.
Yeah, we're small, but and then over in Humboldt, it's kind of similar. It's old. There's suburbs and stuff, sidewalks and stuff for sure. But it's a lot of country still, a lot of dairies. There's still tons of cows over there being milked. Eventually, when I was living on Kauai, there was a dairy. We drive by it, and they had cows, and it's definitely not a dairy anymore. No way. It closed up. That land was beautiful. I don't know what's on it now, but I'm told it's definitely not a dairy. And they used to have a payphone right there. You pull over and it turn out there's this random payphone. It's to call people. But also when I lived on the island, one time I swam out past the reef at the end of the road, KA Beach, on the North Shore. Epic sunset spot. But people were walking over the reef one day, and they were swimming out there, so I did it. And there was all these sea turtles. I was loving it. I was trying to keep up with them. Had a mask and snorkel on. And then I remembered somebody said, oh, yeah, that's right. If you dive down and look back towards the reef, you might be able to see tiger sharks. And they hide underneath there. So I thought, oh, shit, I'm going to do that. And I dove down, and I got way down there, and I went to look, and I was like, oh, and I just kicked and went up, and then I was trying to get it out of my mind. I couldn't get it out of my mind. I was like, oh, why did I want to see a tiger shark? What would happen if I saw one? And then I thought, but there is one down there. And man, it was uncomfortable for the long, and I just got out of there. I never swam up past the reef after that. But yeah, I totally psyched myself out. And it could have been a joke. Maybe I was told false info. Maybe they don't hide out like in those areas, like right next to where people are all on the regular. I don't know, but because it's regular spot. I don't really know about the habitat sharks.
You hear about the orcas? These orcas that are sinking ships? I think it's maybe off the coast of South America. I know that off the coast of South Africa, there was orcas that were hunting sharks and just eating their livers, and all like 17 sharks were washed up on shore. They did it all in like a month. Wow. Something like that. Something crazy. But yeah, I
Animals
heard,
gone wild.
yeah, I heard orcas. There's a certain place where the orcas are actually attacking boats. They're hitting people's boats and stuff and trying to take the boats out.
And I've never heard of that before. Because like Shamu and stuff like that out in the ocean, there's never been a orca fatality supposedly on a human being.
Yeah, they're so docile, right?
Yeah,
I mean, why would they
supposedly.
ever attack a boat? I don't believe that anymore because they're just not telling us, maybe. Now social media, like, dude, this boat just got attacked. We got the video of it. I seen something like that the other day. I didn't click on it, but dang, I don't want to see that. I'm like, that's some of those videos I don't want to see stuff like that. I want to remain, oh, they're such lovely creatures. Hold the fish out. Oh, just got the fish,
Yeah, those things they're huge, man. I was just thinking, I love the ocean, and I'm always watching videos I love like learning and watching videos of the creatures in the ocean, I should say. Yeah, they just fascinate me how big some of these things are. And especially like the whales and how long they go under and how deep they go. They just caught video of one coming up that had a giant squid in its mouth. That was pretty wild. Like it was in the whale's mouth, and the giant squid's tentacle was like up over the top of the whale's head, and you could see it like flapping over it.
And they were right next to it filming?
Well, it came up with it in its mouth. Like it went down hunting and grabbed it, and it hadn't like devoured it on its way up. I don't know. Yeah, but they caught video of it.
Yeah, I seen
Crazy
that
stuff,
too.
man.
I didn't click on it.
Yeah, I'm always
Those
clicking on
giant
that stuff.
squids are huge, right? They're like
Supposedly,
mythical.
yeah, 60 feet long and stuff. That's just no. A 10-foot body of a squid, like a beak on it, probably like, like that big, probably just come and chomp and take your whole, just right here off. Ugh. And they have those, like the smaller squids, they have those little hooks all over their suction cup things. They have these little hooks, and they see some of these hooks that they get out of whales and stuff, and they're enormous, like bigger than the small
Oh,
one's beak. Yeah, so there's some huge stuff down there. And who's to say
oh,
that's not all it is? I mean,
I mean, either squishy stuff or huge stuff is the only thing that can deal with the pressure down there.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I only
but
psyched myself out one time in the ocean, and I was about 7, I guess. Trying to think, what year did Jaws come out? 76. Well, that'd have been like 8 or so. And probably 9. Okay, I was 9. Doing math. Good Lord. Anyway, so Jaws was already in my head. Like, we were going to Texas with my dad on a job, and it was going to have the coast, and we were going to be able to swim and blah blah blah. I can't remember exactly where I was. I was young, but we were going to Texas to a beach. And there on the way, there was this place where they had like a shark thing, which it was fake, but it was the size of a shark, like in a park area for kids to play around. Like, you know what I mean? Like equipment would be shaped like a shark, and there's a shark statue thing. And then in another area, they had this big crab that it was the same size as the shark. It was like the size of a person. And I'm like asking, my dad, who I should be able to trust, is that really a crab that size? Like, oh yeah, that's Texas crab. Oh my gosh, Texas crabs, and yeah, that's why they
Texas
don't have
crabs.
that's why they don't have sharks off the coast of Texas, because those crabs eat them up. And so I'm like terrified now to go in the water. I don't want to go in this ocean and get eaten by the Texas crabs. But we were there, and I couldn't resist getting in the water. So I walk out, and within like a few seconds of getting to where I could actually pick my feet up and start to maybe swim a little bit, a fucking crab pinches my fucking toe. I'm sure I've left some surprises in the water, and I got the hell out of the ocean because I was not going to get eaten by the Texas crab. Yeah, fuck you, Dad. Thanks.
That's great. Yeah, I saw Jaws. Jaws did it for me. I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old,
It did it for all of us. Don't worry.
and that made me never want to go see a shark in real life. I
No,
mean,
it didn't do it to me, by the way, but it did it to everybody else. I'm the only one in my age group that never saw Jaws. Period. I think I'm it.
that's borderline communism.
Well, I was banned. I was banned from horror movies after seeing The Blob at age 5. I had like nightmares for months, and my parents were like, "The Blob did this to you, honey. The Blob did." No, you can watch movies with sex. You can watch adult content or that, but or not adult, not adult content. But they were not. You just can't watch it where it's meant to scare you because you have nightmares. So, I was banned from Earthquake, and I was banned from Jaws, any of the ones like that, why getting to see Porky's or getting to see Animal House, or it was an interesting parenting on my parents' part. They
Right.
banned my brothers from seeing sexy movies because they said that my brothers were too immature, but they could see the horror ones. My parents were very unique and very strict and I mean, they were just solid. That was a line I could not, Animal House, fine. Earthquake, no. Or Jaws, no.
Right.
So
I
yeah.
got my mom
And
waking me up at like
yeah,
11 o'clock to come watch Dracula or whatever's on late at night with her, because she's
'cause
too
she's
scared to
scared.
watch it alone. So I'm up at
No, I
3 or
wasn't allowed to
5 or
watch
whatever.
Dracula
Like
either. Yeah.
anything, pick it, a horror movie that was black and white or early 70s. And then, of course, when they started coming out, I would go see them with you. We saw Jaws when it came. I saw The Exorcist at probably 8 or 7, something like that. Way too young.
It's still one of those
Way,
I've never seen.
I've seen The
way too young.
Exorcist. They let me see The Exorcist. Go figure. And that one didn't scare me. It wasn't I don't know. It should have.
Would anybody be scared to see The Exorcist now?
No. No, I don't think
No, it
so.
sucks.
And I don't think back
Okay.
then, I think, they screened the movies. I think with The Exorcist on there, they were literally screening over me being just really sensitive to violence and that. So, or violence or people
Well, yeah,
getting
they've
hurt.
thoroughly
When it,
desensitized
yeah,
everyone at this
they've
point. So,
desensitized
yeah.
everybody, so it doesn't make any. It was just like my
But when
son
it came
watching.
out,
Yeah,
it was something else, for damn sure.
I'm desensitizing Cammy
I
with
mean, to my
Archer.
5
he
and
is.
7,
He's
8-year-old. But
desensitizing me with Archer's correct.
The other adult movies were like a random boob that parents were like, "Oh
Right.
no, there's a boob in it." It was never
Terminator.
that. Nowadays, oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into what kids can see nowadays. Like, we'll go for the
Anything they
boob.
want. Anything they want.
Right. Risky Business was the shit when I was a kid.
Oh, that was a great movie.
Oh yeah,
Now it's nothing.
yeah. Porky's. All those movies to me were like, okay, if I watch this movie, then I know what I'm supposed to do in college. That's what
Yeah.
that's what I'm supposed to do. You know.
Remember Revenge
So I
of the
did.
Nerds?
and if
That's
it
still
wasn't
one of my
those
favorites.
movies
I'm sorry,
streaming
that's still a
late
good
night,
movie.
if it wasn't those movies streaming late night on like Showtime and HBO on your cable, then it was that wavy Playboy channel that every now and again would straighten up a boob. There's a boob. I see a boob.
My
Would you like
brothers
to
were
wait?
always doing that channel. I know exactly the one you're talking about. Exactly. That's fabulous on it. You're right, all waved out and trying to tune it in and that, yeah.
Isn't it amazing how much it's changed just in the last 40 years? I mean, I remember when there was no such thing as cable television. There was no little box that you could have put into your house that gave you a bunch of channels and you got a remote control and you had the TV and the dials with antennas or rabbit ears or whatever you had connected to it. And that was it. 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, 26, 32, 50, 56. Like those were the channels.
What? You
Yeah.
remember all that? I remember our channels too, 3 and 6. Oh, and 13. No one ever counted 13 though. It was just 3 and 6. CBS.
Ours was
Yeah.
3 and 12 on the main gig, and then you had to know how to do tricks on that UHF dial to get 16, which was the ABC affiliate. That was our country ass TV growing up.
See, I had Chicago, so I was right.
Your TV.
Yeah, Chicago had a bunch of channels. It had its own channels, and then all the national channels. Chicago had its own, like it was a hub. That's why we had all those different channels. That was like ABC, CBS, NBC, WTTW, WGN, WCIU was just out of Chicago. WPWR, Channel 50 was just out of Chicago. 56 was, they always showed like a home shopping network on that one. I forget what channel that was, like the name of it. But yeah, Chicago had like 3 or 4 channels itself that were just out of Chicago, plus all the national stuff. That's why I had so many to choose from when I was young. You guys didn't have a WGN channel where you're from? They covered like 3/4 of the nation. I think the
Not until we had
Southwest.
cable access early in the 80s, and they had WGN as one of the packages in the basic cable. That wasn't something, I mean, again, I was by that point in Shreveport, but still, we didn't have access to it with an antenna. In Shreveport, I think we actually added maybe one extra box thing, maybe came into existence right there as we were leaving. So it was ABC, the basic 3, and then they came out with box. I mean, there were no networks like there. I mean, you didn't have 185,000 channels to choose from, and
I know even the satellites only
even
had like
cable had a
25
few, right?
channels. If you had one of those giant satellite dishes, I knew my buddy's grandpa had one of those, and you'd go over there and there'd be like 25, 30 channels to pick from. It was amazing, you know? Yeah, it's just crazy how different things have gotten.
You know what?
I am pretty
Fuck TV.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that I remember shopping in the 70s and the remote control costing extra on the TV, and my dad saying that I have 5 kids. It's not worth it. Why did I have them? But and when we did get remotes, they would get lost or destroyed after not too long. But yeah, it was a very, very things have changed so much, and you even take it 50 years, you see how much has been built, you see how much has been torn down, you see how the landscape has changed, how much change everywhere, not just in technology, but just in the grounds. You watch out here how quickly areas change. Even this afternoon, I just watched my landscape change dramatically with the cutting down of a tree and changed my whole office view. It changes rapidly, and I like it when you go into the news and they say that, guess what? July 3rd was the hottest day recorded ever in the history of the earth. And this is when they're writing back history millions and billions of years, and yet they know that July 3rd was the one ever, like in billions ever since the start of Earth, it was the hottest day. So I like the way that they just really changed the timelines so much in so many different ways. It's you got to pay attention.
Oh yeah, well, as soon as they started taking all the temperatures in the middle of runways, surrounded by black asphalt instead of in the shade like they did forever. I mean, yeah, duh, it's gonna get hotter. Really? Shocker. Yeah, I mean, they manipulate things so blatantly, but they've been doing it for so long now that people don't even remember how they used to actually take the temperature. That's not even an asterisk in the little head notes anymore like it used to be. They just don't even mention, hey, yeah, look at this huge uptick in temperature right here between the 80s and 90s. And oh, yeah, by the way, we started taking, the temperature in different places, but we're not going to mention that now. Yeah, so I'm not shocked. They'll find even a hotter place to take the temperature and it'll get hotter. in, you know, their eyes, in the record books. It's been beautiful here this spring. We had an actual spring this year. I mean, I don't think we had a 90-degree day during the spring. And it hung out mostly in the low 80s. It was like perfect. Couple weeks of low 70s. Yeah, it was like an actual spring. It wasn't just 50 to 90 in a week. And I know up north, northern Indiana, they had an actual spring this year. Yeah, man, it's not like we can control the shit anyway. And I don't really think human beings can affect, you know, normal human behavior. Now, when you're spraying shit and yada, 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 I don't know what they're doing, what they could be doing. But as far as what we normally do, industry and all that and yada, yada, we can't affect this place. We sure as hell ain't going to kill the earth. That's ridiculous. A volcano, one volcano going off, puts off more shit into the atmosphere than we could if we tried to burn this whole place to the ground. So, I mean, yeah, it's just fear. Fear, 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 fear. That's why we don't watch the television.
It's been a long time. I need to read it again. But weren't Adam and Eve as shocked by weather as they were by the sun and moon appearing in the sky?
I'm gonna have to read it again too.
I know it's been too long. Or maybe it was Enoch talking about the way weather. I don't know, something about the weather in those books. I remember being like, is what we are having now actually what it always was?
Well, remember before Noah's flood, it never rained. Definitely talks about that.
Something like that. That's what I'm saying. Something like that.
That's why the
Weather
rainbow was
a newer thing.
That's insane.
The rainbow is a sign because it was never a rainbow because there was no rain. So he said, "Don't worry, if I flood this, I'm not going to flood this again." But the sign is that if there's you'll see a rainbow. Remember, I'm not flooding you, because he knew there was going to be a rainbow when it rained, and naturally Noah would be like, "Oh my God, it's happening again." But now what's the rainbow? Oh, anyway. So what was going on back then? I've been seeing a few things on vapor canopy, that it had to have been some type of vapor canopy. It's not like, would it be just like a non-rainy day today? If there was no rain, then how did anything grow and all that? So bring on the vapor.
See, I'm looking into
canopy.
it right now. It seems like this is all in the Bible stuff. It talked about the fact that before the flood, it was actually dew and springs from the earth that watered plants on the earth.
Well, you were just talking about vapor canopy. I was thinking about the vapor pressure differential, the VPD that you'd have to do when you're growing indoors, maintaining that proper temperature with the proper humidity to make sure that those plants and the stomas and everything are opened up and getting all that moisture and absorbing all that and aspirating and respirating and photosynthesizing and doing all the shit the plants need to do. I just wonder if you could up all that and then just have like a super high VPD where it's just uptaking all of its moisture through the leaves and the roots without actually requiring like rain coming down. I don't know.
Saw that someone was reporting that African oral history, that there's vapor canopy oral from Africa. That's crazy.
And they say there was more land back then too, right? Like after the flood, it didn't go back to where it was. There was more water here, right?
Seems like that's what it seems like.
Well, if you're in a place that is predominantly default cold, and then suddenly this big area of heat is introduced in a circle around it, there would be a vapor canopy created there, especially inside an electromagnetic shield, if you will. Just throwing it out there. Because again, Adam and Eve freaked the fuck out when the sun showed.
Yeah, they
I'm,
thought it
I'm,
was a monster coming to get him.
I wasn't familiar with this, so I was reading up a little bit on it while you guys were talking too. And here's like, I'm going to read a little post on it. It says, was there no rain before the flood? And some Christians claim there was no rain before the flood. I'm going to jump on here that they thought that there was no rain because of this passage. The Lord, it's Genesis 22, Genesis 2, 5 through 5 and 6 states, the Lord God has not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground, but there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. So they're talking about it, and they're saying from this passage, all that can really be said is there was no rain had fallen up until the time Adam was created. It doesn't mention the flood at all, but they're saying that primarily detailed recap of the creation and before he created man, the mist may have been the one of the primary message that God used to hydrate the lands is he misted it all. While the mist was likely the watering source for vegetation. So that would be like a very, very high dew point and a very high, like living in a foggy type of thing. But they said that that was pre-Adam, not pre the flood. But I'm reading it for the first time. I don't know. I think I'm favorite Cannabis from the Globalist. There is what Karen says, and Karen, you're better on the Bible. I think I missed that week because it's very fascinating to me. But this is the first time I'd heard of it. You guys saying it, so it's something to learn more on. I must have missed the lessons back in the physical science class. You missed it too. I got that, Bellingtano. I'm slow tonight. My tree is gone. The chainsaws are off. It's down and over.
Oh, it was a pretty tree.
It was a pretty tree, and it was kind people that took it down. At least, I mean, they seemed nice and friendly, and I understand why the neighbors wanted it down. It was just hard because it was so beautiful. And I love the magnolia flowers as they'd open up, and that they're so big and beautiful, and nothing quite like it in Denver. I was spoiled, really spoiled to have that
Yeah,
view
it's my
for these
mom's
years.
favorite tree and flower. Yep.
And the smell of it. I've got some of the buds on my desk from the tree. I'm sitting here taking in the fragrance. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not gonna miss those leaves laying on the ground though. They're kind of like a holly leaf. It's a
They're
real
very hard,
hard leaf.
waxy.
Yeah, they don't
They
break
don't
down.
go away quick, right?
No, I'm still mowing over the ones from last year. Even in the mower, they just go around a couple times because and you'll go over it and you'll have half a leaf now this time. And then next week there'll be a quarter leaf. It doesn't like chop them up real fine.
My laptop might power off if I just go out. That's what happened.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I'm properly charged.
I like the two AE maps back there.
Yeah, idea.
That one, right? And I know that one. I just don't have that one.
Got those in Denver.
Uh-oh. He may be going. Something just happened.
I just switched to the spotlight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's the what's the name of it? Gleason's map?
Ideas Brothers?
Yeah,
like
I think that's the Gleason though, where it says on it it's to scale and the most accurate map of the world.
You remember those guys at the Denver conference though? They were selling maps. I snagged both of them there.
Now Denver was my first one. That was wild, man. That was just, it was crazy there. That was so cool.
There was a lot of, was there like 900 people there or something?
And it was a bunch. That's when Alex came and performed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I remember.
Yeah, he was pretty
I was
nervous.
on this show, showing it live from the event.
You were trying to like, let's go outside and smoke, and he's just like, no, not till after, not till after. And
Yeah,
that
I
was the
didn't
next
really know
day.
Alex then. Yeah.
It was
Yeah, he
just,
was super nervous. He seemed like he had
Yeah,
a
we
lot
were
more
there
fun
for it.
at the bar later. At the bar, he really cut loose and was having a lot more fun.
Yeah, that was good meeting everybody there. That was amazing. That was
You're
a
going
good
to be
one.
in Vegas, right?
Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby.
Yep. I talked down going to Vegas pretty hard, but I'm definitely gonna go. I had to change my mind. Gosh.
I can't wait.
We're gonna have some folks here. We might rent a motorhome. I was looking into it. Those things are expensive though.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that's actually saving any money or we'll figure it out. I wanted to take some farm supplies, so thought maybe I'd post up outside the motorhome. See what happens.
I think if you factor in hotels, it's probably cheaper in the long run.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be getting much sleep in the motorhome though. We'll see.
It's Vegas. You're not getting much sleep in a hotel room, let's be honest.
Well, yeah, just a
It's a couple days, couple nighters.
Yeah. I mean, in Denver, I think I slept 3 hours, maybe the first night. And probably, well, they were only, 2-day things there. So, yeah, it was like I went to bed kind of early the first night. But the second night, yeah, slept for maybe 3-4 hours tops. Because it started back at like 8 o'clock in the morning. The first presenter
Yeah, it
was
was a
on.
little early.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how Karen's doing it where, it started at like 11 or noon, something like that. You'd had time to wake up and have a coffee and, just get going, have breakfast, and then go. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
got this down now. She really does.
she does an excellent job of organizing and putting it all together. I'm dropping a link in the chat. Denver is one of my all-time special memories. Robbie Davidson, bless him, on it. The conference was on the street I lived on, less than 2 miles away. And
What?
yeah, in Denver. I don't know if you knew that. He booked that conference center in Denver and had it where it was, and he announced it he announced at the show. We were talking about moving out and moving away from Denver a year earlier, and we wound up not moving and getting delayed on it a lot with the conference and getting their things ready. I didn't sleep like the week before the conference because of all this stuff, all of this sudden hit that was due and stuff showing up and different things like that. So it was a crazy conference that I had no sleep going into it and then not sleeping there. But it was one of the most magical experiences. And I had how many people staying at my house, the back and forth. And again, trying to get there and get a group of girls out in the morning that early does. Like, I don't think you guys understand. I have the keys. Nobody gets in until I do. And it was actually quite hysterical, really great times. Got to spend a lot of time with Nora, got to spend time with Mishka, got to meet Zach. And is that where we really met? That's where we bonded, Zach. For sure, you were one of the volunteers. And that's where I really, really felt like I got to know you after Denver.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really special
Zach
times.
was on the door.
Mm-hmm.
You were on the door at the back of the conference center at the presenting place, huh?
Yeah, I was seeing how many people I could make smile or were already smiling. I wanted everybody that walked through the door to be smiling. Most people were. And there was only maybe a handful that weren't smiling by the time they passed me. Because that's one of the games I play like every time I go shopping or anywhere out in public. I'm always just trying to see how many, especially little old ladies with a frown on their face. I try to make them smile. All I gotta do is smile at them. Yeah, I try to get 10 every time I go shopping. That's my goal, to make 10 people smile. But yeah,
cool.
it's that easy. It really is. You just smile at somebody, and for the most part, most people can't help but smile. It's just like a reaction, at least here in the Western Hemisphere. I know in some places, smiling is like frowned upon, almost. Yeah, I knew
Figure that
Josh
one
would
out.
like that. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to give you a
That
bit
conference,
a bit of irony
that
on it being.
conference was a while ago. Sorry, go ahead, Gammy.
Oh, that was
2018.
I think in 2018, and one of the things about it, and the irony of it being right down the street from me, is as Denver picked that time to close the road off between. They picked that time to work on a section of the road between, and so even though it was on the same street and right down the road, I had to detour over a mile to get around where the road was closed, out the neighborhood, up and around a different way. So it was quite funny that way, because you'd think you're on the same road. How lost could people get going to my house? But it was amazing and fun. It was huge. Yeah, Robbie had one of the things Robbie did, and I don't think people know behind it, is when he did the conferences, he would try to, because of shipping all of the stands and getting all of the stuff out, he would pick speakers, he would pick locations and pick conferences or centers by where a speaker's house was. So in Dallas, it was Rob Skiba. In Denver, it was us. In Canada, it was him. In Raleigh, it was because of Brian Mullins, who is no longer with it. In other words, there were very much sets and places on where we've had conferences and doing it on there, if you wondered what the rhyme or the reason was for that. And it was just so we could all help getting all this stuff together and have a local person on site to, again, go work with the hotels and work with the different things that worked out good. But yeah, Denver was like my hometown conference at the time, and it was really, really special. Got to have Alex play at my house, and and what can you say? The memories.
Good memories.
We picked out the guitar with Alex. We did the guitar. The guitar he shows up and plays with that. I got to be a part of him going to Guitar Center and picking it out. I miss him. Good people.
Yeah.
He gave everybody a CD walking in, free CD.
Yeah, I still got mine.
Cool. Yeah, I listened to mine in my car for a long time. That was like the only Flat Earth music I had at the time. It's huge.
Yeah, I know Travis doing his he does his podcast from the Ubercast, he calls it. And he's always playing True Suffragio in the background. That's just an amazing album. And then Alex just released another album not that long ago. I know the CD people, I guess they're making it like impossible to make CDs anymore, which sucks. Because us old fogies like to have sentimental things like CDs, a physical copy of something. I know Walt likes his physical copies of stuff. So what do you got coming up this year, Daryl? Besides Flattoberfest, you have any more festivals or anything that you're going to be attending? Looking excited towards?
I just got to go up to Ashland to an event. It was really awesome. See a bunch of my old crew. Music festival, super small, but friends with all the groups. Super
Cool.
tight.
Yeah.
My one buddy is a guitar player, and he sits in with everybody. He was on stage on every set. It was crazy. It's small like that up here, or Southern Oregon, and it was so fun being up in Southern Oregon. Oregon rocks. Love it. As soon as you go across the border, you're in Oregon. Like, it's different. I grew up in Northern California, right there. But as soon as you go into Oregon, it's just a different vibe. It's pretty cool. Even geographically, it's just the terrain kind of abruptly changes, especially over by the coast. It's pretty sweet. I did want to mention, you asked me earlier about strains, and I was saying how I'm trying to kind of save the farm and apply what I know to more directly to the California market for sales. And so I end up picking some strains that I really wanted to grow, and I end up getting numerous of them.
Nice.
One of them is Hindu Skittles, ice cream cake, again, because it's just amazing to grow.
Now,
What else
these
I
are all
got?
happy names. I mean, these names just make me smile, by the way. Skittles. We have a verbena out there that smells like Skittles. Skittles is a happy, happy, happy thing. Keep going. And ice cream was that the next one that said ice cream in it?
Yeah, ice cream cake
Ice
and
cream
wedding
cake.
cake.
Yes. Yes. You're
I
talking
got
my
a
language.
runts. He had the runts one. There's a whole different bunch of runts cuts. I got one that's called pink runts. It's an early one. That's why I really wanted it. It's
No,
supposed to
that's
be less
candy
than
too. That's candy. Runts are good candy.
Yeah.
Not the banana
I
ones,
got
but
some
the other
Gush Mints
ones.
again.
Breast
Gush
milk?
Mints is
Gush
looks
mint.
like
I
a
heard
totally
breast milk.
different cut than last year.
Gush mint sounds mellow. It sounds much better than okay. Keep on to wow.
I was trying to get some more OG. Ended up getting San Fernando Valley OG. I haven't grown that for a few years. I got a couple cuts of some sour diesel. I'm looking at them right now. The full term plants. I got one called Soap. Can't really remember what that is at the moment. I thought it was sour apple, but one site says sour apple, another site says totally different. It also goes by the soap,
First
and it's
rule
also
of soap bud is not
Zope.
to talk about soap bud.
There's no soap club going on over here. Don't worry. What else? Donnie Burger. Donnie number 5. Donnie Burger number 5 or whatever it's called is a GMO, like a mod grape was GMO with purple punch. This is GMO with some burger. I don't know. But it smells just like the straight GMO, like the garlic mushroom onion. And it's looking pretty good. It's going to be one of the first time we started flowering. Oh, and then there's some lemon cherry gelato and Kush cake. No. Something like that. I can never remember that one's name. It's a cake, truffle cake.
No,
I'm trying to remember that.
When they go
Truffle
to make
cake.
these, do they mix them with other plants? Is it kind of like how they do spearmint, and they've taken spearmint and made 100 different types of mint now? You can get chocolate mint, lemon mint, apple mint, orange mint.
In a way, here's what it comes down to is the terpenes. I guess I'm not a terpene expert at all. This is all I know is that there's about maybe 18 terpenes that are in nature. And raspberry will have some, and cannabis might have some of the same ones that the raspberry has with the same amount. So then that's the same profile. And that's why you taste raspberries in the herb, because it's literally the identical terpenes from nature. And it just depends on the amounts and the combinations of the terps. The pine terps is a really big one in the herb. The 4 categories of herb when you go and try to enter a cannabis competition, it's usually flower, earth, gas, or fruit. It fits one of those, like the earthy or the gassy, the fruity, or the floral. Those are the taste or the smells that they try to pigeonhole all the strains under. But I don't know if I'm going to enter any competitions.
There's the limon that has that citrusy taste, and then there's the one that's got the black pepper almost taste, and then I was learning all this too out in Oregon when I was trying to figure out what to do with Mom and her pain, and a lot of those terpenes have a lot to do with what it does for your body.
Yeah,
I wonder.
this is some thunder stuff. This is over my head. You gotta
I
get
wonder
hit.
if you use plants that are really
We need to get
highly
Thunder Chicken back
medicinal
on.
with like a lot of CBDs in them already. I know like lemon balm is full of CBDs and stuff like that.
Yeah, you think? Yeah.
And if you
The
mix
lemons are
that
awesome.
with it, I bet it would have a funky flavor, and there would be a lot of, I'm not sure, like you said, I'm not a terpene, know nothing about it. But it seems with all the similarities in the plants that there should be a nice exchange of whatever happens when they pollinate, cross-pollinate each other.
Yeah, have you ever smelled that lemon fresh pine sol?
Mm-hmm.
Like the cleaner?
We
And
have it,
and
yeah.
smell the herb and then like, whoa. Is this pine sol or just no, this is lemon fresh pine sol. This one. Oh,
Yeah, we have a
gross.
plant that's called lemon verbena growing out in the backyard. We got a little bush growing now. Man, I've never smelled something so citrusy, lemony.
It's like a yellow Skittles. I mean, it's just so strong and so wonderful. Now I know I was biased. I am snobby. So like the GMO at first, I was not really going to. It's like it's called GMO. It sounds like genetically modified, and then I wasn't quite like sold on the idea of pot being garlic, mushroom, onion, not even being any better. But I mean, it wasn't Skittles. It wasn't. You know, I went in there prejudiced. I have to tell you, I was totally prejudiced. And I just want to say that when you open your mind, it's turned out that it was my favorite strain. As far as arthritis goes, nothing else touches it like the GMO. The GMO, there's something that, you know, I can move my fingers more and I feel better. And it actually tastes like a, you know, and the smell is like a good pizza. It's not, it was surprisingly delightful for me because I was like, come on, Skittles, jelly bean, and like garlic, mushroom, onion, or, and so I learned a lot with it, and I learned not to be so snobby, like with the names, because it's funny, I really expected to not stand that one, and it turned out to be an all-time favorite. So thanks for like the experience of the garlic, mushroom, onion. It was a pleasure.
It's great to, if you're a cook, it's perfect to pair with, well, garlic, mushrooms, or onions, or I don't know. I'm not really a cook pairing cannabis, but I do enjoy it for a mid-meal toke. Oh yeah. Push the plate aside for a second. Slide in the ball.
Yeah.
GMO. That's what I go for it. Yeah, the Donny Burger looks just like GMO. It's gonna have all those qualities. It's really enjoyable watching it. Same structure. It's identical. Love it.
Thunder Chicken says, yeah, the garlic profile helps inflammation. There has to be something with that because I know that according to, it's mostly the CBDs or that are helping in the mixing. And I get really bad flare-ups, and I'm trying the things. I try to keep an open mind on the things too. But really, the GMO, there is no way to say. I mean, that has been like the most successful. I can feel like the swelling actually goes down. It relaxes the stiffness. It's amazing. So I think there is something that you're looking at, the terpenes, which I never really looked at. I need to more, but yeah, it's amazing. And I don't think, and we happen to know that like every arthritis medicine that they put out there on the market and pull back 10 years later because of all the problems it causes, this is something that we don't have that. And trust me, my whole family is on arthritis medicine. My niece was the literal poster child for juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. The havocs that these drugs, they actually use, most of my family is on chemotherapy and different levels of things like that. We've had joint and disc replacements, and I'm seeming to control it better this way. And my family, again, has a hard time arguing with me, saying that I haven't had any joints replaced. My brother and I both injured ourselves. I worked through with physical therapy and rehab when I put my shoulder out on an impinged. My brother had similar one and wound up getting surgery. He felt better a lot quicker. It took me a lot longer, but I'm a lot better now. a year later, I'm a lot better. So different things like that. It's really so much to be learned and such a gift.
Sure gift.
Well, yeah, we could go into how the medical industry, I mean, it's money making. It's like, that's so opposite of how it was set up to be, you know? It, yeah, doctors are paid well and everything, and it was always, somewhat expensive, but it wasn't like it is now, where it seems like the insurance company, if the doctor can get the insurance, like this happened with my mom. They couldn't do the actual thing. They couldn't she was having a stent put in. Well, they couldn't put the stint in because something happened. They didn't have the right one. Yada, something happened, but they went ahead and went in and took a look anyway because the insurance paid for that. And if they didn't do it now, they were going to lose that insurance money. And I was getting ready to go off. My mom saw it and she was like, she told me to leave, whatnot. But yeah, it's like, so you want to do a surgery on my mom because the insurance paid for it. I was like, she's 65, motherfucker. This is dangerous. She was going under, like anesthetics and all that. I was like, so you're going to do this just to go take a look around and not do the actual procedure? Well, I was pissed. But yeah, it's money making now. It's all about money. They don't even take that Hippocratic oath. All right, I'm just going to shut up about this because I'll go on about this for long. This is one of my touchy subjects. It pisses me off. But yeah, healthcare, like I see healthcare as like what you do, Daryl. The medicine you make is real medicine. That's like back in the day, doctors would have been banging on your door, every day. You'd have a new doctor come up. Hey, I need to get some more of that medicine. It's really working with all my patients.
Yeah, it was always in their bag for sure.
But they were, it seemed like they wanted to actually help people back in the day. A doctor was, oh, you can't pay me?
Oh, yeah.
Make me an apple pie or whatever. They would do trade or whatever back in the day. Nowadays, you don't see many doctors.
They come to your house.
Yeah,
now
with
you
the
have
black
to have,
bag.
now you got to have an insurance plan. And yeah, I tell people, some people are like, what can I give you? And sometimes I'm like, just hold on. Let's make sure that it works. I've done a lot of reading on different shamanisms, how other people take care of people in South America. And one of the ways certain tribes do it is they got their medicine person, and that's his job. So like if someone gets sick, they go to him for relief. Well, if he relieves them, then they're going to give him something. If he doesn't relieve them, then he might have to give them something. So that's why I'm like, just hold up. Let's make sure this all works.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about sometimes it's not about compensation at all. Thank goodness. I do have for the RSO, I could give away so much because every now and then I'll get somebody that comes through and takes up a big order. And that's what happens. Like everything ends up being balanced out sooner or later. In nature, in reality, everything's got its give and go. And I am grateful for anybody for those big orders. That's really awesome. So enjoy getting people the good medicine. Thanks for talking about that. It's one of my favorite things. And tomorrow morning, I get to do it again. Yay. I was trying to do it this morning, but I can't. It might be something I'm so busy, I might not be able to do it in the mornings anymore. I probably have to do it in the middle of the day when it's smoking hot and I can't do anything else. I keep putting some jobs together like that. It's the time of year on the farm where, well, I'm not replanting yet, but I got all those clones ready and I'm about to bump them up into 4-inch pots. And that's just another whole level. It's another job to do. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, this other project's kind of winding down that I was doing. that was real fun. I won't be able to get into that, but yeah, it was a fun one. I'm gonna do that again eventually. I gotta get you set up too, Josh. I haven't yet, but Walt's been there. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I hope the Pharm keeps going, man. I hope you I just hope you're happy. Whatever happens. You know, just be happy.
Thanks, Walter. I'm assuming that
Definitely
was you.
happy. Hi, Sherry. Love you.
And
I know
Thunder
that guy.
Chicken is joined.
That is
What's
a
up,
Thunder
Thunder?
Chicken. You probably came in and it's muted, so you probably have to unmute yourself before you start talking.
You are muted at the moment.
Sorry, y'all. I'm still not as familiar with Zoom.
It's all good. Welcome, brother. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here. I was saying it's quite serendipitous that tonight I actually am just chilling. I was taking an early night. Yeah, it's perfect timing. How y'all doing? Been enjoying the stream so far. I relish the opportunity to talk shop in July. All the starting to see the structures of the plants and stuff. Heard you saying you're a little behind this year. What is your plant count, Daryl?
Well, I'm not fully planted. What is my plant count right now? Let me think. Probably a 1,400.
Woo!
I should have 4,000 though. And the reason why I'm seeing structure is because I'm 6 weeks in on the Dunning-Burger beds, and yeah, it's working out. It's frosty, super chuggy. That Hindu Skittles at 6 weeks is fat. I'm an idiot. I'm way behind on my trellising. Stuff's about to fall over. It's hard to put trellising on a long bed by yourself. Right now I'm by myself, so about to get some help on that. But yeah,
It is difficult at times. Well, I mount the T-posts. I just drive T-posts in with a stake about 5 feet apart, and I get the 6 foot wide trellis. I've gotten good. I do it by myself. It's like a broom handle through it. You can kind of roll it out, and you feed it through and everything. So that's always a good workout day, driving them T-posts. See, I'm small, but the Michigan Medical Caregiver System, I do 72. Like the only way we have A, B, and C licenses, so you can do 500, 1,000, 1,500, and you can stack these licenses. There's some grows around me, 3 or 4 of these licenses. That's 4,500, 6,000 plants, and it's just hard to compete with them people. And
wow.
The way they've regulated.
You're just on plant numbers.
Huh?
You guys rate plant numbers. We're just doing square feet. So I have 10,000 square feet. I could pack it or do whatever I want inside there.
Yeah, I like that idea because you could do, seed projects, and it's not about plant count, so it's about square footage for y'all out there. See, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Totally different game.
A lot of different techniques you can go with that. See, I was doing that indoor. Technically, it wasn't like legit, but just like a sea of green, just packing them in there, 3-week cycles, quick turnovers. When I was doing indoor, like maximizing your space, but like you had to ignore plant counts. It was just how much space can you fill. But our laws aren't.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm using the sunshine. Trying to use every indoor technique, not every indoor technique, but a bunch of indoor techniques outdoors. Whole point of mixed light. And then pulling tarps, shading it, same thing. Yeah, I don't know what I would do if I had to harvest all of it in October. I just don't have the capacity.
Oh yeah.
So everything comes off in stages.
That's smart. I was thinking about doing auto flowers, because they'll finish up so I'd have 2 harvests, because I'm doing it all by myself. I get a couple people here and there during the 3 weeks of the gauntlet of Croptober, but it's
Yeah, I haven't autoflower's been around so long. Like, where are the good genetics? So, like, why isn't it fully consistent? Like, everybody that I know is too scared to do it because of the, not consistent enough per plant, from plant to plant.
Well, it's hard to lock down genetics like that because they're kind of cultivars, because they don't reproduce in a way that you can harvest the seeds. Like a one-off. They're crossing something with the ruderalis. They're crossing a good THC blend with ruderalis because it ignores light cycles and it just has a biological clock like corn or tomato. 90 days to finish. It ignores, so you can grow them in 18-hour lights indoor the whole time, and they'll still bud out and finish. So that makes them like a one-off Terminator. They don't reproduce their own seed like that because you're crossing, your whatever, your lemon skunk. What I have is Granddaddy Perp seeds. Give me 1 second.
It's perfect for Renegade. Ideal for Renegade, huh? Like off in the woods, or if you're on the Hawaiian Islands somewhere and you're off in the bushes.
Yeah.
Cornfields of Indiana.
Give me 1 second. Y'all be right back.
I think small plant counts too because of that inconsistency. I mean, Christ, I can't even get consistent seeds that are autoflowers. I get autoflowers that will never flip on themselves, and I've got to do it myself with the lighting. Or I get photos that just automatically flower. It's like I don't know. A lot of these seed banks and websites selling seeds, I don't think know what the hell they're even talking about. They just reach in, grab a handful, and chuck them at you.
Dang, I wish I could get some seeds from the people that I sell my herb to that make the rosin, because he's been breeding forever, and he's breeding for rosin, like really high potent, super flavor, whatever the rosin wants is the papaya. There's a bunch of them, all the sherbets. Oh my gosh, his list is here. And that's the whole thing. Is like one of the things that I'm having problems with right now is that's what I did with a lot of my herb last year. I sold to his company, and the rosin it doesn't sell. So I haven't actually been paid on a lot of my work last year. Coincidentally, I end up with a bunch of rosin, but it's not all bad. Whatever.
That's funny because like the rosin is selling. That's the highest priced and most in demand around here, because anything BHO related is just so mass produced now since the CRC tech has come into play. The color remediation cartridges, filtering. So like the price.
Say that again.
The price of anything BHO. The market is so flooded on the butane hash oil extracts.
Okay, yeah.
Because of the color remediation cartridge technology, they can turn, no matter how many pesticides or fungicides or how shitty it is, they can filter that shit out with activated charcoal, silica, all kinds of different chemicals, and that's pretty much the standard under the state regulations here. I've seen it's pretty big in the West too. You can live resin carts and all that. The distillate is insane cheap. The dispensaries here have 10 for 100, 10 1 gram distillate carts for $100, like $10 a cart.
Damn,
can't beat
That's
that.
insane.
That is way insane.
They're like $40-$50 in Colorado.
Here in Missouri, it's like $60 for a half gram cart.
Yeah, I just had a buddy in St. Louis. He bought one. That's what he said. He's like, "Oh my goodness!" I was like, "Man, let's go set up shop."
Now, what are the laws for like somebody that has a bunch of these cartridges and are in a different state though? What would be the laws of you can't go from one state to another? Yeah. And would that be didn't they decriminalize it federally?
No.
Yeah, I believe some states are trading back and forth, like Michigan and Colorado. I think that they have interstate commerce of early controlled substance, but they have a special license for that called transportation. It's a transportation license. Like, I don't know how it works over there, but Michigan are set up pretty similar on their state laws. So that's how Michigan does. Like, you got a grower's license, a processor license, an event and lounge license, and then the transportation license. And they're the ones that transport, large quantities from the grow facilities to the processor, or it's all money getting spread around.
That's crazy.
But that's what keeps little guys.
We got a politician here that has put a bill in California to allow farms that are less than 1 acre, I think is what he said, or 1 acre and less, to be able to be the first ones in California to sell out of interstate or out of state or whatever. Whenever that starts happening, that's way this guy wants to see it, starting with the small farmers first, which is
how many square feet is in an acre?
I got a quarter acre, so that's 10,000. It's like 44,000 or 42,000 square feet or something like that.
So you'll be
so
right in
they call
that.
my 10,000 a quarter acre. It's pretty close. That's a lot of herb. I mean, I can't even. I filled it all out last year, but then to replant the whole thing a second time, if I can pull that off, yeah, that would be awesome.
Where I was setting up that market garden in Detroit, their hemp farmers were getting ready to come in, and they had an acre all plotted out for them, and they were getting it ready, but they were going to put a plant every 4 feet in like a grid pattern. Is that normal to do it that far apart? I thought that was just like a waste of land.
That's cannabis you're talking about?
No, it was hemp.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good then. I mean, yeah, if you're not topping them, they'll definitely fill up 4 foot by 4 foot. Like in hemp, they don't top it.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah, they want straight stalks for the CBD hemp.